I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call of members. All members are present with the exception of Vicki Robertson, who notified us that she would be out of town for this meeting. Additions to the agenda, I have none. Do I have approval of the motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion.
Do we have a change in which minutes? I thought I saw a notice.
To defer. Oh, to defer.
For
Am
both
I
of them?
looking at the right? Am I looking at the right agenda?
Yeah, no, there was an email that came out to defer both.
Okay. Defer the minutes.
Defer the minutes.
Okay. But do the budget appropriation. Is that correct?
So I would make a motion to adopt item B, the resolution 20-22.
Okay. All right, that's a motion on the floor. Is there a second for that?
Did we do roll call?
We did. I said Ms. Robertson was absent, but I said all other members were present. All right, do I have a second for approval of the resolution 2822?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, council member announcements. I'll start on your side, Ms. Smith.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Dr. Mitchell. I want to give a warm welcome to our new Executive Director of Instruction and Professional Learning, Dr. Kimbrell Barbosa Lewis. I'm sure Dr. Mitchell will tell us more about Dr. Lewis later on. Okay. Just to let you know, the free breakfast and lunch is still available at the school during the summer on Monday through Thursday for children aged 18 years and under. Parents and guardians are all welcome, and you can eat for $3.50. Also, I'm sure by now you've seen our new love sign on Town Hill. The sign was created by local artist Bob Waite Smith, and it celebrates the town bird, the osprey. It was financed by the artist with the help of a local patron and with the support of the Colonial Beach Artists Guild, under the guidance of the Colonial Beach Public Works and the town government. The love sign is part of the Virginia Tourism Corporation's Love Works project to promote family-friendly tourist attractions that incorporate local themes or items that are unique selling points of the town. I would like to thank Bob for this gift of his time, resources, and talent to the town, and I'm excited to see what love signs pop up next. Thank you.
Mr. Moncur? Okay. Dr. Sosella?
Well, we kicked off last weekend with Potomac River Festival, which we had great weather on Saturday, and it was a great parade. Coming up this weekend, we have on Saturday, Juneteenth celebration. It's the first Juneteenth celebration we've done as a town. And we have a whole lineup of speakers, historians, exhibitors, and vendors. This is a free event. There will be food vendors so that you can buy food there. On Sunday is the classic car show, the Father's Day car show that's been going on for 14 or 15 years. I couldn't find the exact time, but it is a great fun for fathers and sons and mothers and daughters to all go out and see these great cars. And then I also just wanted to give kudos to the Economic Development Committee, who continue to work extremely hard on projects that are in the realm of economic development, but focusing on keeping the feeling of our town as we always have, keeping that small town feeling. And they're really doing a great job.
Julia?
Good afternoon, everybody, or I should say evening. Just real quick for Public Works, as most of y'all know, I'm the liaison for Public Works, and I've been trying to get a meeting with them, and finally had my first meeting with them last week. And it was a good meeting. I got to learn a lot about their challenges. Each one of them introduced themselves to me and told me what departments they worked in. Asked me some tough questions, like why didn't I vote for the budget? What am I doing for them? Stuff like that. So, you know, they didn't hold back, which was fine. I listened to some of their concerns, and I look forward to actually helping with those in the future. They mentioned some of the challenges that they have with staffing and just keeping up with the summertime. And they told me about how each person kind of pitches in and does different things. You know, when they're shorthanded, you know, you see all these people picking up trash on the weekends from the beachgoers. So a lot of them pitch in for that, even if that's not part of their regular job. Also learned about some of the challenges as far as training. You know, they'd be interested in getting more training. And of course, pay was one of the concerns that they brought up. So a lot of things I look forward to actually meeting with each department just to kind of learn a little bit more about how they operate in town and what I can do as their liaison to help better the town, especially when it comes to them and the infrastructure challenges we have. Thank you.
Mr. Allison?
Okay, we'll start off with the Parks and Rec. The movie night that we were supposed to have last night was canceled due to pending weather. So we're going to have a new date scheduled for that. It has not been announced yet, but do look forward to seeing Ferris Bueller's Day Off at some point in time in the future. As Dr. Sullivan said, the Parks and Rec will be co-sponsoring the Juneteenth Freedom Day, which is Saturday. So please come and enjoy that. For the Planning Commission, there is going to be a joint public hearing that's going to be scheduled for June 30th at 5:30. This hearing will be for the following two items, which will be a CUP, which is a conditional use permit for 114 Beach Terrace for DD acquisitions. And there's also going to be a discussion of zoning text amendment for zoning ordinance Article 29 for the planned unit development residential district. That's all I have.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do a shout out to Public Works. They have been working really hard to get the lines laid, the cables laid between the two events. And they expect to have all of that done by Saturday. But they've informed us, and we will work around that if we need to for Saturday. But they were out there all day today working on that.
I want to thank everybody who attended our Potomac River Festival, 71 years now, and I feel like it was finally getting a little bit back to normal to have such a great parade and celebration. The fire department, rescue squad, the chamber, nobody could have done a better job that weekend. It was really, really phenomenal. I just appreciated celebrating the town of Colonial Beach. It's really one of the events that I look forward to every year. I was sorry that the boat parade got canceled, but the weather that morning was torrential, and I think that was the right call. It really wasn't any way you could have prepared for that. So I missed the boat parade this year, but otherwise happy to see everybody. I wanted to let people know that I personally reached out to the carnival. I know there's been several questions about why the carnival isn't there or if we could get a carnival. The carnival has a new owner and there are several challenges, and he right now is not prepared to bring it to Colonial Beach or really for the next step. He's having quite a challenging time right now. I think he's a little bit over what he expected. And so I just, in the best interest of everybody and to his recommendation, probably not a good year for the carnival just yet, as it's sort of getting regrouped after a COVID era. I did meet with the Military Officers Association of America and gave a speech today at their luncheon. It was well attended. Northern members, officers from the Northern Neck, really Calia, Warsaw area, all the way to King George, and they had a lot of really good questions. And it was just good outreach to our military members. Unfortunately, tonight I want to issue a correction to some false information. So it'll take a little bit of time, but I'll get it over as quick as I can. It's come to my attention that some inaccurate and misleading statements have been published regarding the 2022 and 2023 town budget. As member of the town council, we should hold ourselves to a higher standard for providing information to the public, one of truth and accuracy, especially when regarding the government's finances. And so I'm providing the following information for transparency and to correct false and misleading information previously provided. The budget process involves meetings directly with the finance office and administration, and several public meetings as well, in which there are ample opportunity to ask questions and get facts correct. The following are facts. The chief financial officer and town manager are responsible for tracking budget line items. Questions on tracking specific line items can be answered by these professionals. A budget presentation was given at least 3 times publicly. The entire budget line items are available by request to the town clerk at any time. Council members were given line items in detail ahead of time. After approval and per state code, it will be posted online by June 30th. There is a page on the town website of the budget presentations. Requesting a balanced budget without a tax rate that pays the bills would require direct and massive cuts in service or financial delinquency. The school's required local match went up nearly $500,000 in a single year. So while there is no new mandated item per se, there is a required local match, or RLM. This is assigned every year in March by the Virginia Department of Education. This year's amount increased by $500,000 and was still awaiting final approval by the governor. This RLM amount is based on student attendance, which is based on figures by the Weldon Cooper Center. If a town does not grant the school the entire RLM, they potentially lose all state school funding. The Colonial Beach Schools RLM increase of nearly $500,000 in a single year was unpredicted, as the VDOE does not publish the RLM formulas until the annual numbers come out in March. Generally, the town funds above the requirement, as do most localities. This year's budget and tax rate are equal to the requirement as proposed by the House budget in Richmond. And as mentioned, the governor had not yet approved a state budget, and so it was responsible to assume the least risk in providing this required funding and budgeting for it appropriately in advance. The difference between an equalized real estate tax rate and the adopted rate was slightly under the required local match amount, meaning that if the increased funding had not been required, a lower tax rate would have been met. Importantly, the difference between the 2018 local school funding amount and the 2023 required local match is 17.5%, not 4%. The school board manages their own budget. The town council has the responsibility of approving the amount of local funding, but on positions, salaries, or how the school funds their personnel, that is the school board's authority. There is a separate school budget presentation given by the superintendent that provides more details on their budget. New job positions were explicitly explained in the brief and are aligned to the town council's strategic action plan and priorities of public safety, livability, and economic development. You can see this on the slide budget highlights in the proposed budget overview available online and was presented for these positions. They amount up to $176,000, not $300,000. All but $25,000 of these salaries is directly for public safety. The police department budget has increased $112,780, not $450,000, from the current appropriated fiscal year, as 2 additional officers and a part-time parking attendant were added to reduce overtime and improve the efficiency and patrol needs in our community.
Again, see the slide budget highlights in the budget presentation. The highest travel-related budget increases are in the police department, as the town expects to begin the accreditation process and further training for officers, while also supporting our staff's development for retention and recruitment across all departments. There is no economic development line item for $150,000. There is an economic development, tourism, and grants department where reorganization of these funds from under other department accounts can now provide for unique tracking. The reorganization has not created $150,000 of new expenditures. The primary expenditure addition in this category is $25,000 for a part-time economic development hire. See the slide budget highlights again online. The grant writer position, funded in 2021, has added over $600,000 in state grant project funding in less than 1 year. The Parks and Recreation Department is not new this year. The position did not incur any unique pay raise, but rather adjusted a part-time employee to full-time and now oversees events. There has been no new addition to groundskeeping or expenditure for Eleanor Park in the approved budget, as it has already been included for years in groundskeeping. The dedication to open space will receive $387,416 in grant money for the town in the upcoming fiscal year. The electrical service bills have been within 2 to 3% consistent for the last 6 years and are less in this year's allocated spending than they were 5 years ago. Electricity billing to food truck vendors to cover a 5% wage increase for staff would need to be over $50,000. The sale of property is split 5% to the rescue squad, 5% to the fire department, 10% to the schools, and the remainder 80% to capital improvement funds. The annual operating budget is separate from capital improvement funds and is against the town's financial policies to use capital funds such as sale of property for the operating budget. The CIP is a plan for capital funds and is adopted separately. It is funded primarily through federal or state funds along with property sale funds such as Dotson. The Birthplace Project is a capital improvement item and was anticipated to be funding with a VDOT grant. It has been in the town's comprehensive plan for decades, and without federal or state funding is impossible. No allocation from the general fund or operating budget has been committed to this project. A lack of visibility of who and where town funds are spent demonstrates a lack of effort in asking or understanding during the months-long budget process. The town must operate within its means, and the reality is that the costs are going up across the board for all Americans and all provided services. I have serious concerns that such erroneous statements are political, to simply corrupt public confidence and damage the reputation of the town as lacking fiscal responsibility, which could not be further from the truth. I applaud our finance department staff that deserve the utmost respect for their integrity and diligence in the annual extensive budget process. They work hard to provide information, new financial guardrails, purchasing policies, and refinance our debt. They have saved us all hundreds of thousands of dollars. From their efforts, our financial standing has improved immensely in this last several years, and they are to be commended. I hope to never have to issue another correction to false statements of this degree or nature. Any question on financial decisions is best to be directed directly to the town staff for accurate information. Thank you. All right, and with that, we will go to town manager update.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, members of the public. Indy Adams Jacobs, Town Manager. I'll go ahead and give my monthly report, which would include my normal report, as well as some updates on signage, wayfinding, and then certification that we've received from the state. Starting with town department updates, real estate bills were due June 5th. If you have not come into finance or paid those bills online, they are now accruing penalty and interest. So please see our finance department on pay those online today. As it relates to grants, we have received $30,000 for signage from the Rural Community Development Initiative, thanks to our work over the last year, most of which has been done by Mr. J.C. Riviere, as well as some of our members with DCB and in the EDC assisting on this effort. So I've recently completed an MOU with VACD to obtain this funding for signage. We will be going out for RFP for wayfinding signage as well as gateway signage, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end of this presentation. Next, we are hiring for a Director of Public Works and Utilities, wastewater treatment plant supervisor, wastewater treatment plant operator, water and sewer field maintenance trainee, and police officer. We have also welcomed Ms. Kimberly Fink to our team as our new HR manager. So if you have any questions related to human resources or looking for jobs within the town, please see her in town hall. Next, Parks and Rec, Mr. Allison stole some of my thunder, but we are going to have pop-ups clinics every Monday and Wednesday for soccer. And then the Movie in the Park event will be rescheduled to later in June due to weather. In terms of economic or intergovernmental relations and community affairs, the DMV Connect was actually here yesterday on Tuesday for appointments. They will have another set of appointments on July 18th. We will post to our social media site appointment time slots available for people to be able to sign up and come in for their DMV Connect. Next, infrastructure and public works. We've recently completed some work on our beach survey, and that will be happening in the coming weeks. We also will be combining our stormwater and resiliency plans to have one consolidated RFP unique to our town. We obviously have some stormwater related issues, but also resiliency as a coastal community. So we'll be combining those into one RFP and going back out for that. And then we are continuing our work on our central drainage area and our work with Dewberry. Moving on to July, or June for special events, as Dr. Sullivan mentioned, Juneteenth this Saturday, and then town offices will be closed for the holiday on Monday, June 20th, in observance of the holiday. In July, we will have fireworks on the 4th of July weekend on Sunday, July 3rd, approximately 9 p.m., weather permitting, and town offices will be closed on Monday, July 4th, in observance of the holiday. Now moving on to signage. I'm very excited. We've been working with Ms. Stewart with the Downtown Colonial Beach on the design committee as it relates to some parking or some signage design concepts. Now that we've received this funding from the state to work on gateway and wayfinding signage, we've begun working on some concepts for signage. Most of the feedback that I've received has been positive towards the one on the left, but we will be posting some of this to our website for feedback from the public as to which design concepts the people like the best. Moving forward to the next slide, we've also worked on historical signage, which will be a part of this RFP as well. We will be looking to hire a consultant to make sure that all of our signage is consistent. They will also be taking a look at some of our parking signage as well. So we will have more updates as it relates to signage in the coming months, but just a notice to everyone that we are working on this diligently, and we have received some state funding to help us with it. And finally, I will follow up with our last and most exciting thing today is a certification that we received from the governor recognizing us as a Virginia Values Veterans Certified Locality. What does this mean? Our town could receive grant funding for hiring veterans in various positions in our town, such as police department and public works. So over the last couple of months, myself as well as Mr. Nate Solia, who has been serving as interim HR manager, to take some training and some courses from the state as a military community wanting to embrace all of our efforts with Douglas Base and then promoting ourselves as an employer of choice for veterans. So we're very excited to receive the certification, and this is a copy of it. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for town manager? All right, Mr. Tribbett is out of town tonight. I did attend the meeting, the meeting minutes. It's over here. They had an award for the Sheriff's Department, the Certified Crime Prevention Community Program Resolution, and a presentation of the Accreditation plaque. Anyways, very proud of it for the Sheriff's Department. I was glad to be there. And so I'm just updating them on that. And then they also approved the tax rate schedule as advertised. And then had some land use cases. So I guess I'll fill it for him. Yeah.
Do you know what the new personal property tax rate is for the county?
For town residents or the whole county?
Well, for the town in
It-
particular.
Yeah, I
What
think it
happened?
went up from, is it 206 to 217,
Okay.
maybe more. Oh, don't quote me on that, because I do
Okay.
not have the rate schedule in front of me.
Had they published it anywhere?
It is
available?
published. It's on their website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Colonial Beach Public Schools, Dr. Mitchell, welcome.
Thank you.
And to your guest as well.
Yeah, I can't see anymore. It's changed overnight. Madam Mayor, Town Council members, public, good evening. I do have several updates. But I'm gonna start by saying that Dr. Addo and I had a tremendous time this past weekend at our first Potomac River Festival. We did try to put a lot of pictures and things on social media, get some good feedback. We had a great time. We were here till about 4:30 in the evening. We arrived around 10:30. Had a chance to meet a lot of people. And, I think we both concluded that's like a little bit of a hidden gem. Next year, we'll be better prepared. As a school division, I felt that we could have done a little bit more, but in a short period of time, I want to thank the cheerleaders and the board members who helped us organize it, and of course, members of the school board office to kind of put something together last minute. But we had a great time, learned a lot, met a lot of new people, but really it was fun. So thank you for everyone who helped put this together. A couple of updates on the budget. So I'm going to follow the mayor's speech earlier today, her update. She mentioned in her update that we, the school, will provide a budget update based on the final budget, which was passed about 2 weeks ago. We received the documentation from the General Assembly adopting a new bipartisan budget. It took a while. This has never been done before, where we get a budget typically after school is closed. And so that really was new. With that budget, I want to just make sure I get this right. At my initial budget presentation, I shared that the town's required local match based on the Senate budget was, again, proposed for $2,623,414. Based on the new adopted budget from the General Assembly, the new local match that's decreased is now $2,538,208, which is a difference of $85,206. So as the town council, I know the budget has been approved. The town will need to make a decision about how they deal and manage that $85,206. So that's less than what was initially in the Senate bill. Any questions about that before I move on to other updates? Because I know this is a big one.
Sir, did the governor sign the budget yet? The last I checked, it still hadn't been signed by the governor.
Well, it's the governor hasn't officially signed it. I don't see any reason why he won't sign it, since it was a bipartisan bill for the General Assembly, and especially now, most school divisions in about a week or so, well, 2 weeks, are going to go to their new fiscal year. So I'm assuming that he's probably going to accept it as is. I don't expect too many changes, but that budget covers fiscal year 23, 24. It's like a 3-year process. So we can actually look at the calculation tool over what the match is now to next years down the line. I did meet with the town manager and the CFO today, and one more person, I don't know his title, but the three of us met and we went over the new allocations from the new General Assembly's budget. I did provide sort of like, it was important for me because I wanted to kind of see where, for lack of a better word, the General Assembly kind of cut things. So we did an analysis of that and we have provided that to the town so they could see it. CIP updates, a couple of good news. We just completed the CIP project for the high school parking lot as well as the elementary school parking lot. We are in process, so those two are done. We're in process in terms of looking at the, on August 1st, hopefully that week, starting the groundwork for the softball field lights. That's a major project that we undertook this summer. Also, the replacement of the wooden bleachers at the high school gymnasium. For those of you who've been here for a while, it is a hazard. A lot of gaps. We've been lucky; no one has been hurt through the gaps through the bleachers. The company we hired to do that, they've taken everything out, and we expect an installation date sometime around middle to end of September. We are also in the process of refinishing the high school gym floor. That should happen sometime in July. Right now, I am working with my team as we evolve on a 3 to 5 year CIP plan. I know this is not something that the school division has done over time, but I think right now, before I came, I was looking at my end of the year tab in terms of tasks I need to accomplish, and there was 46 things on it. And out of the 46 things on the tab, I can say we have about 20 that we've actually finished, and we have about 10 that is in process, will be finished hopefully before the school year start, and the rest will roll into the next fiscal year. So with that 5-year plan, a couple of things we're looking at. One, trying to pave the access road at the back of the school. I think it's been a gravel road since the school was built. The issue there for me, since I came, is twofold. It's wide enough to be able to allow our first responders to go in and out if there's an emergency. But it's also wide enough to be able to accommodate potentially a pick-up and drop-off area. One of the things I'm doing right now, we are doing a parking study as part of our CIP update, and I should have that report hopefully by the end of the week. That will allow us to be able to add additional parking. So those of you who've been here, it's atrocious when you have games. It's you cannot park because we have this huge wide space, and that could potentially be parking areas. So hopefully the study will allow us to be able to add additional parking at the high school and elementary school. And we are also in the process of completing a walkway that would lead to a sidewalk from the baseball field to the crosswalk on First Street to allow students to be able to cross safer. So that's something that one of the citizens at Colonial Beach brought to my attention when I first arrived in January. So I'm hoping to finish that task hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We are in the process in terms of, I know I said I have a lot, so just a lot happening. We are in the process real quickly of adding as part of the 3 to 5 year CIP plan, the basketball court that was approved. So we have options for kids, outside during the playground, especially our middle schoolers. They're in a small little playground with the same size kindergarten. So we need something different for them. We are also in the process of looking at replacing the lighting system. For those of you who've been here, the lighting system at the high school is ancient and it's very dark. So we're trying to upgrade the lighting system there. And also looking at the construction of a new building to include an outdoor weight room for our athletes. So that way we're not using the classroom, which is what we do now, as a weight room, and also sort of like a transportation area. We're also looking at an electronic badge system as well as a weapons detection system. We've been looking at that just for safety purposes, especially now. I know the chief and I are going to have some conversations in the next week or so, hopefully, about some ideas for safety, especially with what happened in upstate New York as well as in Texas. We are also in the process of, as part of that 5-year plan, looking at redoing some of the fencing along the football field and then purchasing an outdoor freezer at the high school because of the fact that what we have is just so small. And so when we have electrical power outage, a lot of time, which we had one last week, we end up losing a lot of products and put it on its own network. We also have a couple of staffing updates. We welcome Dr. Kimber Lewis coming from work to us from Tennessee. Dr. Lewis has been a principal for 14 years. She is the former president of the National Association of Elementary School Principals. She's slated to start on July 1. I do have a couple of things with staffing. I'm going to ask the community's help, town council's help. We are struggling to staff our high school. It's a struggle to staff the high school. We have several positions that just became open because today is the last day for internal transfers between school divisions across the state. We lost a couple of people last minute because they can do that even though they might have signed a contract. The state allows them to do that up until the 15th. With that being said, one of the issues that we have seen, and it's no fault of ours, is that as we provide an increase to our staff to match surrounding counties, particularly Westmoreland County and Dr. Perry, they have actually surpassed our match where they've afforded their employees a sliding scale between 8 to 12%. So I lost 2 candidates from Westmoreland who said yes to us and changed their mind last minute after they passed their budget for the sliding scale of 8 to 12%. So that creates a couple of challenges. So with those challenges, we are asking the community, town council, members in the audience, those on the screen, if we have adults who are looking to go into teaching. We have a career switcher program that I've been working with when I was at Prince William and Fairfax, working with ODU, VCU, and Regent. It's a 2-year program that would allow you to go, and after the first year of completion, be able to teach at the high school level or the elementary level. So if anyone is interested in the career switcher program, we will assist and support with regards to tuition reimbursement through that program. Which leads me to the positions that we have. Right now, we're looking for 2 art teachers, 2 PE teachers, science, math, history, and a business teacher. So if you're looking to switch careers and want to join the field of public education, I'll be more than happy to assist you through those programs. Those are my updates. Any questions for me? I know I said a lot.
Dr. Mitchell,
Yes, ma'am.
could you introduce Dr. Addo? I
Oh,
don't think
We didn't do that before. Oh, that's your first one. My bad. That is your first one. I'm sorry. In the back, joining me tonight for his first town council meeting is Dr. Felix Addo. And Dr. Addo he was the principal at Eastern View High School. They house about 1,400 kids down in Eastern View in Culpeper. And previously, he had been in Stafford County for several years. So welcome to Panama Beach. Okay. All right.
Could you repeat the areas that you need teachers in?
Yes,
please?
absolutely. The areas we're looking for career switches, or anyone to join our staff, or if you know anyone who was in the field and want to come back, are art, PE, science, particularly chemistry, math, history, and business.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
All
right.
right. thank
Any
you.
other questions? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you gonna do with the wooden benches?
The wooden,
Yeah,
The ones
in
they
the
took
gym?
out.
The one you're taking out?
oh, the bleachers?
Yes.
Oh, they already took them out. It's already gone. They're already gone. I'm sorry. They've been demolished, taken out, loaded, and out.
Okay, before you do that again,
Let me see
make
the
sure
piece.
that you check with the community that doesn't want to purchase some of those items, kind of like the old cracker box floor and that kind of stuff.
People would have bought boards.
People would have bought sections of that, they could have made furniture out of it, and you could have done it as a fundraiser to raise money for the school.
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, they were fast. That's probably one of the best contractors I've seen. They came in, they gave us a date, and
There's
Give
a
it 2 days
lot
and
of
they were
room for
out.
pride in Coney Beach, so you probably could have sold every bit of that.
Especially on those bleachers.
Yeah,
yeah.
you may have heard us mention Walter Kern, who was one of our longtime residents that we lost this year.
Mhm.
When the old school burned down and the remains were demolished, he sat up there and hand cleaned the bricks. And he helped, salvage the boards, and they are in a lot of people's living rooms where we paid money to have those pieces in our houses, so.
I have one.
Wow.
Mhm. You do? Yeah.
I wish I knew that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for letting me know. Any other questions for me?
No.
All
I
right,
think
thank
that's
you.
it.
All right.
Now he knows the value of school memorabilia around
Oh,
here.
good.
Yeah. I don't have a sheet for citizen input. Do you have it?
Tommy Edwards.
Mr. Edwards, welcome. As always.
So there'll be one more after.
Oh, there is.
Ms. Mayor, Council, my name's Tommy Edwards on Second Street. I'm here on behalf of really a citizen. For some of you that don't know, I was on Tourism Council for a few years before I became a town councilman. At the time, there was a lady there that was very instrumental in starting tourism, was Mary Knowles Allen. There's a sign on the beach side, almost the bushes that you can hardly see. It has her name, it's about this big, and underneath of her name is Visitor Center. Her niece contacted me and asked me would I speak on her behalf, that before phase 3 comes in and you destroy the building, I would like to have that sign on behalf of her niece to take it to her. Now we could do one of two things. You can allow me to undo the screws and take it out, or we could have general services come in and take it off. But I'd like permission from the council to have that sign removed one way or the other. Is that a problem?
I think we'd let you coordinate that with the town manager about how, what to happen.
Well, I called late today and Heather couldn't get me in. I'm sorry I waited to the day to try to call her. I know she's very busy.
Okay, it sounds like a very reasonable request.
Would I need to come by and see her tomorrow about this?
Yeah,
Or,
this isn't happening yet tomorrow, so yes, you have time.
so I'm allowed to take it off? Is there a problem with council?
I'll coordinate a time to talk to you.
Pardon me?
I'll coordinate a time to meet with you and speak with you, sir.
So you will call me
Yes,
before phase 3 goes in?
yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Do we need a motion on this? I mean, it's a valuable piece of town property. Yeah, I don't want to arbitrarily dispose of it without putting it on the market, but I think it's.
I would suspect the town manager needs to coordinate this with the visitor center people as well. I don't want this sign to go missing and they're not aware.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Is it on the outside of the visitor center?
Is it on the outside? Yes, it
Yes.
is.
So the bushes, it's on
I know
the
which one it is.
sidewalk on the boardwalk side,
Right.
and most of the people that at that time that voted on it are deceased.
Yeah.
The only one that's still living is Betty Whitestone. So it's hard to take a poll of the older members. And I'm sure, I hope Betty would be
Well, that's really what I meant by it. I would like to have her blessing before there be a,
At least with that.
yeah.
Okay. Next up is Nisha Thompson.
Hi,
And
guys.
more signups.
Hi, it's Nisha. I'm at 101 10th Street. I just want to talk about last meeting. It came up during the parking discussion about closing the meters in October, and I think that's kind of ridiculous to close them in October when one of the town's biggest events is held in October. I know there's a lot of debate about closing them because for some reason they don't mind paying for drinks and hanging out, but they don't want to pay to park. And if you're not going to charge them the park, you shouldn't charge for any of the events. 4th of July, the festival weekend, or even the summer. I just don't feel like it's fair to people who come during the summer, families, or anybody that come here outside of October's event, that they don't have to pay for parking and everybody else does. I know it's still up for discussion, I believe, but I just feel like that should be brought up, that I don't think that's fair. And I know there's a lot of discussion about it, but that's it. That's all. Hope you have a nice weekend.
Thank you. All right, that's all we have signed up. And we go to old business. Bird electric bikes and scooters update. Mr. Oh wait, he's not here.
He is not here. We brought this item back as we discussed this a little bit earlier in the season. But at this point, staff will recommend deferring this to next season, unless there's a desire of the council to pilot this season.
Okay, is there any further discussion on that then? We're deferring it? Good,
So, yeah,
we're deferring it till next year.
for,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a good idea. There's a lot of questions in the community of how that would work and stuff, so I think it'd be a good idea to get more input from the community.
Defer.
Defer.
Yeah. All right, resolution 2522, approved small purchase procedures policy. And this was on our June 1st agenda work session, so this is proven.
And what you have before you tonight is, so what you had, let me say it this way. What you had at June 1st had 3 levels of approvals. And just to recap a little bit also about the philosophy of having this. So the state code has its own set of rules, but basically what the state code says is that generally everything has to go out for RFP unless you adopt a small purchase policy. So therefore, there's a great deal of incentive to adopt a small purchase policy. What was brought to you at June 1st was sort of a template, and it was broader and based on kind of your discussion, and in consultation with the town manager at your recommendation and request, we sort of narrowed it. And what I mean is, I started out the draft that I provided you just as a discussion template, had 3 levels of purchasing. And the idea is that you set your small purchase policy with something that is somewhat easy to meet the requirements of, only because then you don't run afoul of the state code and the state requirements. You can always impose additional expectations and requirements on specific purchases if you would like to, but you would at all points, hopefully, well, at all points you must be in compliance with the state code. So the idea was to make it simple enough to comply with so that you are always in compliance with state code, but yet again, understanding that you may, if a specific project you feel like you would like some stricter requirements for, you could always do that. And again, still be in compliance with state code. So with that in mind, and based on your prior discussion and having consulted with the town manager, what this draft contains is, instead of 3 layers, it has 2 levels. So 0 up to $30,000 and then $30,000 to $100,000. From 0 to $30,000, or I suppose $1 to $30,000, it would require one quote, and then $30,000 to $100,000, it would require 2, and approval of town council, which is your limit now. So that didn't change. That's your approval point, the point at which a purchase has to come to town council now, or a contract. So that did not change. But again, this just sets it establishes some easier to meet criteria so that it's not so difficult to get some of these projects completed, because often it is very difficult to get the bids. But there also, I will point out, there also is a statement contained in this policy that says that staff is encouraged at all points to get as many bids as possible. This just sets the threshold, what you have to get to be compliant with state code. But there is an admonition and a directive to get as many bids as possible, because then, of course, you have the most competitive pricing that you can get.
All right. You have any discussion? No?
We need you need a motion so we can go through the process.
We can do a motion in a second and then do discussion.
I move to approve resolution 25-22 as it appears in our agenda packet.
Okay, do a second to that, then we'll open it up for discussion.
Second.
Okay. Now we'll go to discussion. Mr. Williams, is like hand up.
Yeah, I just have a question, I guess, for India. When I met with Public Works the other week, one of their concerns was challenges of small purchases. Does this new resolution, does that address their concerns as far as being able to get things that are not necessarily easy to get?
Absolutely, yes. Some of our larger apparatus, like the jet truck and the trash truck, sometimes when they require maintenance, it's oftentimes hard to find folks to fix those. So Chris did a great job of explaining, I think, to you that day, that it's difficult if you have a vehicle up, being worked, or whether you have it broken apart, and then you have to try to go get two quotes at another place, and then you can have weeks worth of delay on just trying to get an apparatus back in. And some of these apparatus that are, $200,000-$300,000, the cost associated with fixing even what would be considered small, can be above the threshold that we had in our previous policy that was implemented in 2010. And I would also like to just thank both of our BCAs on staff. When I started, I realized that our procurement policy had some issues. And since then, both Ms. Thompson and Mr. Riviere have gone to procurement training and obtained their BCAs, and they looked at this policy first before Ms. Giles came on and took a look at review and revising it. So I'd like to thank them, who are kind of our in-house purchasing experts at this point.
Thank you.
It's a lot of professional development, guys. More discussion? I'm looking on, okay, you guys? All right, I'll do a roll call vote. Then, Ms. Clement?
Vote aye.
Mr. Ronquier?
Aye.
Mr. Allison?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Dr. Southall?
Aye.
And vote aye. That is a problem across the Northern Neck. I can't tell you how many localities Whitestone was trying to just get the simplest thing done and delayed for months on that kind of stuff. And there's only one guy in town that does it anyway, and we all know him, like that kind of thing. So anyway. Resolution 2922 authorizes municipal government to apply for Department of Justice funding to enable the police department to hire civilian accreditation lead. We were already introed on this before. JC, you want to?
Yep.
Read us out?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. As the mayor alluded to, we discussed this briefly at the last meeting. This is the second of two Department of Justice grants that the police department is pursuing. This one is to fund the hiring of a civilian to lead the department's accreditation efforts. And that includes programmatic costs as well. So it's salary, fringe, and then whatever other the programming costs will be. And this aligns with the town's strategic goals, and council has already shown support for the accreditation process by funding Lexipol, which is a program that helps with the policy implementation. So this is just going to help us get there faster and have someone actually in charge of it, doing it on a day-to-day basis, really getting all the internal controls in place, and you can be there to maintain high standards at the police department for service. So the max funding request for a locality of our size is $160,000, and I'm very happy to report to you that there is no match. Again, that's very rare. I'm excited about that one. Yeah. Well, we don't have the grant yet.
Oh, Tom has expectations of you at this point.
Yeah, let's keep up that no local match thing.
So, and unlike the other grant, there is not an obligation to continue funding beyond the program. The grant application does ask for us to present a plan for how accreditation will be maintained beyond the program, but there's no, you have to keep civilian on for that extra year like the other one had. So costs low, benefit very high. This is a great opportunity.
All right. Have a motion?
So moved, no
Oh.
local match.
I knew you'd be on top of that.
Second,
Second, is there any further discussion on this?
yes,
one?
ma'am.
Yes.
Chief, with this person in place, how quickly can we become accredited?
We have to have all policies in place, and then we have to show 12 months of proof and compliance with all said policies. We are about 2 months into policy development, with me doing it 2 to 4 hours per week myself. So this would be a full-time position, so that would expedite the process and help have controls in place to maintain those proofs expeditiously. But we're still looking at early 2024 before we could ask for accreditation by the state, because we'll have to have all proofs in place for 12 months.
So it's possible that we hire somebody and this grant is spent and we not be there yet? Is that?
Yes, it's a possibility, because we would have to develop all the policies, which should be done before the end of this calendar year, and that leaves all of 2023 to develop the proofs, ensure compliance, and then we have to have a minimum of 2 assessments on site, 1 mock and then 1 actual assessment before we can become accredited.
And do you have anybody in mind for this, or are you going to be doing a full out recruiting?
It'll be a full recruiting, and I have obtained accreditation manager specific job descriptions from other localities as well as from Versa and DCJS to develop a job description that coincides with the department needs as well as the town's pay scale.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How many times can we apply?
I would assume if we don't get it, we can apply again. I mean, you mean,
Yeah, if we win.
oh, I'll have to look into that. That would depend on the project period. If it's 2 to 3 years.
Currently, the grant is only for departments and localities attempting to become accredited. There are no grants for departments that already have processes in place to be accredited. However, this is the second year this grant has been available in the Commonwealth, and 0 people applied last calendar year.
Wow. Good job finding that one. That was a gem in the. Well, good job.
So I guess, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if, so this is a dollar amount grant, not like a certain number of years grant.
Correct.
Okay. And I know that it's really important for the people to get that accreditation. I know a lot of people have told me that they're very supportive of that, so I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Dr.
So
Thompson.
theoretically, we get the grant, we hire the person, we are not accredited by the time the grant runs out. Could we apply for this grant again because we're not accredited?
Theoretically, that could be possible, but that would be up to the
I
federal
think let's get
government and the
accredited.
state.
I think that's.
Yeah, just the time frame is not exactly a good match, so,
We'll explore some other opportunities.
okay.
We'll do that. But we need to take a step into the right step to go ahead and move forward with this process and cross that bridge if we do get awarded.
Is there any more discussion? No. Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call vote on this one. I'll start on this side this time. Dr. Sullivan,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Allison,
Aye.
Mr. Ronquier,
Aye.
Ms. Clement,
Aye.
and I vote aye. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, shortest meeting in 2 years. That's on record.